The wait is finally over as Knuckles on Paramount Plus is finally out to stream, and being a fan of the Sonic series and the film franchise itself, I was excited to check it out. Which says a lot considering I'm not really big on watching that many shows, whether it's on cable or on a streaming service. The last show I remember binging was probably Ted on Peacock, but before that I think it was maybe Andor and the Bad Batch on Disney Plus. Anyway, the point is, getting me to want to watch a show is kind of hard to do. But with how well the two Sonic movies turned out and Idris Elba's interpretation as Knuckles being my favorite version of the character, it would be stupid of me not wanting to give the show a shot. Plus it would be something fun to do with friends. So me and the guys hung out on release day, got some wings, and binged the whole series in one go. And the final verdict? It was a lot of fun. While it had some flaws, the series overall was very good, and actually really funny. Obviously not all jokes landed, but comparing this to the two movies where most jokes got me to chuckle at least with the occasional actual laugh, in Knuckles there were multiple times where we got a good laugh out of the slapstick or just something said. When it comes to the plot, there are moments where I can see some fans having issues with the show, and while I can agree with some, I don't think it harms the show overall. However, looking online the past few days, opinions on the show range from it being the worst thing in the Sonic series to others saying it's really good. And I can see why both sides can feel the way they do. For now though, let's just start with my thoughts on the story and go from there. This won't be like the movie reviews where I go beat to beat on the plot. Considering the show is new, I would rather keep plot points to a minimum, so if you want to watch the show after this video, you can without being spoiled. Alright, let's hop into it. With everything back to normal after the second movie, Knuckles and Tails are now part of the Wachowskis family. And while it seems Tails is adjusting well to life on Earth, Knuckles is still maintaining his warrior lifestyle, working out in the forest and protecting the Wachowski home from anyone he deems as a threat. While this causes conflict between him and Maddie due to his actions, Sonic tries to reason with Maddie, explaining that Knuckles just needs some time to adjust. Even though his goal of finding the Master Emerald is complete, his only goal now is just to protect it from those who want its power. Not seeing Green Hills or Earth as his home, but rather where he's required to be for his job. That all changes, however, when he takes on an apprentice to train as a warrior and learn the ways of the echidnas. And that apprentice is Wade Whipple. You know, that comic relief cop that Tom's friends with? Wade is currently preparing for a big bowling tournament and takes Knuckles' help to prepare for the event. So the two friends set off for Reno, Nevada for the tournament, while Knuckles teaches Wade the ways of the warrior. But along the way, two agents will go out to hunt Knuckles so they can sell his powers for profit. So while the two warriors try to prepare for the tournament, they'll have to keep an eye out for anyone that's after them. Something you'll notice from that brief summary is that this series is not really a Knuckles story, but a Knuckles and Wade story. On their travels, the two will bond, talk about their past, how it shaped them to who they are today. And while Knuckles teaches Wade how to become a warrior and better himself, Wade teaches Knuckles how to enjoy the little things like music and taking time to relax. Their dynamic works really well, and while at first glance it could be seen as another human-animal duo like Tom and Sonic, the teacher and student dynamic, along with how these two act, make them stand apart from the Donut Lord and Hedgehog. That being said, there are times where the story will focus a little too much on Wade, that Knuckles will kinda be MIA for a while. Episode 1 starts off good with a big focus on Knuckles, then an even split in 2 and 3, but in the second half, Wade gets a lot more screen time overall. And this is where people have the biggest issue with the show, saying that the show's focus on Wade is taking away who people really want to see in this show, Knuckles. And I 100% get the criticism. Would have I liked more Knuckles in my Knuckles show? Of course I would. But I never hated it when it was only Wade on screen. And the best example of this is episode 4, where Knuckles shows up only at the start and the end of the episode. This is a, let's say 98% Wade episode. Before watching the show, I saw a few tweets on Twitter on how bad episode 4 was, and honestly, this was probably where the show got the most laughs from my group. Again, not every joke landed, but there were so many moments we were laughing at the sheer absurdity of what was happening. Plus a reference to the games I never thought I'd ever see a callback to. While Wade and his bowling tournament wasn't what people wanted from the show's plot, Wade as a character is entertaining. His goofball antics works really well with how serious Knuckles takes everything. Also, Knuckles himself is done really well in the show, so if people were worried about this show harming his character, he's done right here. The strong, honor-bound Echidna warrior who just isn't that well acquainted with life on Earth just yet. Besides the two leads, the show introduces a handful of new characters, like Agent Willoughby and Agent Mason, who are the ones that are going after Knuckles to sell him. And there's also the buyer, who wants to harness Knuckles' powers for his weapons. And then there's Wade's family. The two agents are entertaining, but they don't get much time to develop beyond the just being bad guys. Mason is just here to get rich, and Willoughby does explain why she's doing all this. It's just a handful of lines, and they don't go further from there. Sorry guys, but the best agent in the series still goes to the goat farmer. Similar to the agents, the buyer really has little to do in the show, just wanting Knuckles' power for himself. Similar to Willoughby, we do get some dialogue explaining his background, but not much said beyond that. I would have liked the show to go a little more in depth with the villains because they're very entertaining to watch. But really, they're only here to get into fights with Knuckles and Wade. And the fights themselves are pretty cool. I especially love how they utilize their weapons in scenes, like launching yourself off the ground with the guns and then firing rings to open portals. That is really unique, and I would like to see more in the next movie. All the fight scenes in the show are entertaining, and there's a good amount of them too. I just would have liked to see more from the villains themselves. Besides the villains, we have Wade's mom and his sister Wanda. And I like the mom, she's sweet and is just there to support Wade however she can. Wanda, on the other hand, my god, I don't like her. When I say jokes don't land, a good portion of those jokes are from her. She's just so mean to Wade, and I really don't know what she brings to the story. She did get one laugh out of us in the last episode, but obviously I'm not going to say what it was. It was at the tip of my thumb. Really, Wade's family is just here for his plot, and while also connecting to Knuckles' conflict of not having a place he calls home. And even though I don't like Wanda, Knuckles bonding with the Ripple family was nice to see. And I get that not everyone cares about human characters in Sonic, and probably won't even enjoy the show because of the focus on Wade, but calling this the worst thing in Sonic's history, as some are calling it, is a little bit of an exaggeration. There's this, that. Oh, how about this? Yeah, are we just gonna ignore this is where we started? I had no expectations with this show beforehand. I just sat down with friends and we watched it. And it was a fun time. It leaned more into comedy with all the slapstick and jokes. But most of the time, it was really entertaining. And it made at least one of us laugh, and we all felt satisfied with it. Also, one thing I like to mention is my brother actually watched it with us, and the last Sonic game he played was Sonic and the Black Knight. And after finishing the show, he just said, you know, I didn't want to watch this with you guys, but I'm actually glad I did. Funny enough, that's what he said about the second movie. He doesn't expect much from these, but in the end, he does enjoy them. He did agree with the flaws like the stereotypical villains, too much focus on Wade at times, and Wanda, but things like the action and humor kept us both entertained. You can really tell how much the show leans into comedy just by looking at the actors, especially Agent Mason. Dude looks so happy just to be there. I did see some people complain about the CGI, and yeah, the models aren't as detailed compared to their movie counterparts. Considering this is a mini-series budget, I wasn't expecting them to be one-to-one. Also, besides Sonic looking less detailed in the first episode, it wasn't a common occurrence during the show. I wouldn't see Knuckles and think, oh, he looks bad. The obvious green screen used from the movies is back though, and at this point, it's what you expect. Although, it's kinda growing on me. The licensed music here is what you expect, and none of them felt out of place to me. I really like the use of Rock You Like a Hurricane though. I just wish they would have made an original song for the opening instead of using Warrior every time. The end credits songs from the movies were so good, so it was disappointing not hearing something new. The product placements are back, and they're what you expect. Doritos, Facebook Marketplace, TJ Maxx is our favorite by far, and you'll understand why if you watch. Although, Doritos is a close second just because Knuckles thinks it's a real cool ranch. Probably should mention this too, Maddie, Sonic, and Tails are in the show, but only for a short time, which I figured considering the title of the series. But for those hoping for a lot from the Wachowski family, sorry, you'll have to wait for Sonic 3. In the end, I enjoyed the Knuckles series, and while it has flaws, nothing felt like it brought the show down to the point where it wasn't enjoyable or wanting me to shut it off. While it didn't lean a lot into the games like the second movie did, when the credits rolled, my group felt satisfied with the final product. It's a goofy, fun time, and I imagine kids who watch the two movies will most likely enjoy this series. Paramount did state they plan to do more series, so hopefully they'll see everyone's opinions online and take the criticism to make the next show even better. Also, while I was working on this video, the first episode of Knuckles is on YouTube, so you can hop into the series for free. So give it a try, and hopefully you'll have at least some fun watching it. But if you did watch the show, what did you guys think of Knuckles? Leave a comment down below, and also what spin-offs would you like to see next? I imagine they're going to do Shadow, but hey, maybe Tails will get a spin-off. Who knows? With that said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye. Hey, anyone want to go to TJ Maxx?